7:47 a.m., 17 minutes before the executive board meeting. Marcus Chun straightened his Italian silk tie and checked his Rolex as he strode through the marble lobby of Chun Industries headquarters. His handmade leather shoes clicked against the polished floor with the confident rhythm of someone who owned every space he entered. At 42, Marcus had spent 15 years climbing the corporate ladder to become executive vice president of operations. He commanded respect. He demanded excellence. He tolerated nothing less than perfection. The cleaning lady was blocking his path. She knelt on the floor near the executive elevator, scrubbing at what appeared to be a coffee stain on the pristine marble. Her worn uniform hung loosely on her small frame. Gray hair escaped from beneath a faded headscarf. Her cleaning cart, filled with supplies and garbage bags, partially obstructed the hallway. "Excuse me," Marcus said sharply, not bothering to slow his pace. "You're blocking the executive elevator." The woman looked up briefly, her dark face lined with years of hard work. "I'm almost finished, sir. Just need another minute to—" "I don't have another minute. Move your cart. Now." The woman began gathering her supplies, moving slowly. Too slowly for Marcus's schedule. "Today would be preferable," Marcus snapped, his voice dripping with impatience and contempt. He gestured dismissively at her cart. "Why are you even cleaning here during business hours? Maintenance is supposed to work nights when real employees aren't here." The woman paused, her hands still on the cleaning supplies. "There was an emergency spill reported this morning. I came in early to handle it before. I don't need your life story. Just move." Marcus pushed past her cart, deliberately bumping it with his briefcase. Cleaning supplies rattled. A bottle of solution tipped over, spilling blue liquid across the floor. The woman reached quickly to right the bottle, but Marcus was already stepping into the elevator. He didn't look back at the mess he'd created. "And clean that up properly," he called over his shoulder as the elevator doors began closing. "This building has standards." Through the narrowing gap, Marcus saw the woman kneel again, this time to wipe up the spilled cleaning solution. Her expression remained neutral, professional. She didn't respond to his rudeness. The elevator doors closed completely. Marcus immediately forgot about the encounter, pulling out his phone to review his presentation notes for the board meeting. Today was crucial. The board would be voting on his proposal for a major restructuring that would eliminate 300 positions while increasing executive bonuses. His proposal, his vision, his path to CEO. His phone buzzed with a text from his assistant, Jennifer. "Board meeting starts at 8:15 sharp. Conference room A." All members confirmed attendance, including the new CEO. Marcus frowned slightly. The new CEO. Chun Industries had been without a permanent chief executive for 6 months after the previous CEO retired. The board had conducted a secretive search, interviewing candidates without informing senior management. Marcus had assumed he was the obvious choice for promotion, but the board had remained frustratingly silent about their decision. 2 weeks ago, the announcement came. The board had selected an outside candidate. Someone with extensive experience in corporate transformation and employee relations. Someone whose identity remained confidential until today's formal introduction. Marcus wasn't concerned. Whoever the new CEO was, they would quickly recognize his value, his expertise, his indispensability to the company's success. The elevator opened on the 42nd floor, executive territory. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city skyline. Original artwork decorated the walls. The carpet was so thick it absorbed sound. This was where power lived. Marcus walked past the executive assistant stations, nodding curtly at the staff who greeted him. He didn't bother learning their names. Support staff were interchangeable, temporary, beneath his notice. "Good morning, Mr. Chen," Jennifer said as he approached his corner office. "Your presentation materials are ready. Coffee is on your desk. The boardroom is being set up now." "The new CEO," Marcus said, not bothering with pleasantries. "What do we know?" Jennifer consulted her tablet. "Very little, sir. The board has kept everything confidential. I know the CEO arrived in the building about an hour ago. Security logged the entry but didn't share details with general staff. An hour ago? What has this person been doing for an hour? I don't know, sir. The board requested privacy for the CEO's preliminary building tour. Marcus dismissed this with a wave. Probably getting lost in the parking garage. Outside candidates never understand company culture. He entered his office, a space designed to intimidate. Massive desk, leather furniture, walls covered with awards, certificates, and photographs of Marcus with various business leaders and politicians. Every element carefully curated to project success and authority. Marcus reviewed his presentation one final time. His proposal was brilliant, ruthlessly efficient. Eliminate redundant positions in maintenance, cleaning services, food service, and administrative support. Outsource these functions to contractors who would work for lower wages without benefits. The cost savings would be substantial. The board would love it. The fact that 300 people would lose their jobs, their health insurance, their stability didn't factor into Marcus's calculations. Business was business. Efficiency was everything. Sentiment was weakness. At 8:10, Marcus gathered his materials and walked to conference room A, the largest and most impressive meeting space in the building. The long mahogany table could seat 20 people. Today, all 12 board members would be present, along with senior executives and the mysterious new CEO. Marcus arrived to find several board members already seated, speaking in low tones. The atmosphere felt different somehow. Tense. Expectant. Marcus. Board Chairman Robert Patterson greeted him with a handshake that seemed less warm than usual. Ready for your presentation? Absolutely. The board will be impressed with the cost savings and efficiency improvements. Patterson's expression remained neutral. We'll see. The new CEO will want to review all major proposals personally before any votes. Marcus felt a flash of irritation. Of course. I look forward to explaining the strategic value to our new leader. Other executives filed in. Chief Financial Officer David Morrison. Chief Technology Officer Sarah Williams. Chief Marketing Officer James Rodriguez. Each greeted Marcus with varying degrees of professional courtesy, but Marcus noticed something odd. Several kept glancing at the empty chair at the head of the table, the CEO's chair, with expressions he couldn't quite read. At 8:14, the conference room doors opened. The cleaning lady from the lobby walked in. She still wore her worn uniform, still had the faded headscarf covering her gray hair. But now she carried a leather portfolio instead of cleaning supplies. She walked directly to the head of the table, to the CEO's chair, and sat down with calm authority. Marcus stared in confusion. Why was a cleaning lady sitting in the CEO's chair? Where was security? Why wasn't anyone stopping this obvious mistake? Then he noticed the board members. They weren't confused. They weren't calling security. They were standing respectfully, waiting. Chairman Patterson smiled and addressed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to formally introduce Dr. Eleanor Washington, the new Chief Executive Officer of Chun Industries. The cleaning lady, Dr. Eleanor Washington, removed her headscarf and straightened her uniform. She looked directly at Marcus with eyes that held both intelligence and something that might have been amusement. Good morning, everyone, she said, her voice carrying the unmistakable tone of someone accustomed to commanding rooms far more important than this one. I apologize for my appearance. I've spent the past hour conducting what I call a ground-level assessment, experiencing this company from the perspective of our essential workers. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. The cleaning lady, the woman he'd dismissed, insulted, literally pushed aside. The woman whose cleaning supplies he'd knocked over without apology. That woman was the new CEO. Before we begin formal business, Dr. Washington continued, her gaze never leaving Marcus, I want to share what I learned during my morning assessment. I arrived at 6:30 a.m. dressed as a member of our cleaning staff. I wanted to see how this company treats the people who maintain our workspace, who arrive before dawn to ensure we have a clean, functional environment. She opened her portfolio and withdrew several pages of handwritten notes. I encountered 17 employees during my 3-hour observation. 16 of them treated me with basic courtesy and respect. They said good morning. They thanked me for my work. They moved aside to let me do my job. Dr. Washington's eyes locked onto Marcus with laser focus. One employee was different. One executive pushed past me, knocked over my supplies, created a mess, and walked away without apology or acknowledgement of my humanity. That same executive told me that cleaning staff should work at night when real employees aren't present. The conference room had gone completely silent. Every board member, every executive was staring at Marcus. "Mr. Chun," Dr. Washington said, her voice calm but carrying an edge of steel. "Would you like to explain why you believe cleaning staff aren't real employees?" Marcus's mouth opened but no words came out. His mind raced, searching desperately for an explanation, an excuse, anything that might salvage this catastrophic situation. I didn't mean, that is, I was in a hurry for this meeting and you were in a hurry, Dr. Washington interrupted. So basic human courtesy became optional. Respect for a fellow employee became negotiable. Is that your standard operating procedure, Mr. Chun? No, ma'am. I apologize. I didn't recognize. You didn't recognize me as the CEO, so you felt entitled to treat me with contempt. But here's the critical question, Mr. Chun. If I hadn't been the CEO, if I had simply been a cleaning staff member as you believed, would your behavior have been acceptable? Marcus realized with growing horror that every word he said was digging his grave deeper. No, ma'am. It wouldn't have been acceptable regardless. Yet you did it anyway, which tells me this wasn't an isolated incident. This was your default behavior toward people you consider beneath your notice. Dr. Washington turned to address the full board. This morning's assessment revealed something deeply troubling about our corporate culture. We have created an environment where some employees are treated as invisible, as less than human, by the very executives who should be modeling leadership and respect. She returned her attention to Marcus. Mr. Chun, I understand you have a presentation today. Something about restructuring and cost savings. Marcus nodded, his throat dry. Yes, ma'am. A proposal to improve operational efficiency. Please proceed. I'm very interested to hear your vision for this company's future. Marcus approached the presentation screen with trembling hands. His carefully rehearsed confidence had evaporated. He clicked to the first slide. Operational Efficiency Initiative, Restructuring for Maximum Profitability. The proposal, Marcus began, his voice lacking its usual commanding tone, focuses on eliminating redundant positions and outsourcing non-essential functions. Specifically, we would eliminate all in-house maintenance, cleaning services, food service, and lower-level administrative positions. These functions would be contracted to outside vendors at significantly reduced cost. He clicked to the next slide showing financial projections. Total cost savings would be approximately $47 million annually. This would allow us to increase executive compensation packages and shareholder dividends while improving our competitive position. Dr. Washington listened without expression. How many positions would be eliminated? Approximately 300. 300 people would lose their jobs. They would have opportunities to apply for positions with the contracting companies, Marcus said, repeating the rationalization he'd prepared. At lower wages without benefits, Dr. Washington stated. You're not eliminating positions, Mr. Chun. You're eliminating people's livelihoods, their health insurance, their ability to support their families. And you're doing it to pad executive bonuses. Marcus felt sweat forming on his forehead. It's standard industry practice for operational efficiency. Standard practice doesn't make it right. Dr. Washington stood and walked to the presentation screen. Let me tell you about my background, Mr. Chen. I spent 20 years as CEO of Harrison Manufacturing. When I arrived, they had similar proposals on the table. Eliminate the lowest paid workers to maximize profit. She turned to face the room. I rejected those proposals. Instead, we invested in our workforce. We increased wages for essential workers. We improved benefits. We created advancement opportunities. We treated every employee, from the CEO to the newest janitor, as valuable members of our team. Dr. Washington clicked to Marcus's financial projections. Do you know what happened? Productivity increased by 34%. Employee retention improved by 56%. Customer satisfaction ratings rose to industry-leading levels. And our profitability grew by 89% over 5 years. Not because we cut our workforce, but because we invested in it. She looked directly at Marcus. Your proposal is rejected. Permanently. We will not be eliminating positions or outsourcing essential workers. Marcus felt his career crumbling in real time. But the cost savings will be found elsewhere, starting with executive compensation packages that have grown 340% over the past decade, while wages for our lowest-paid workers remained essentially flat. Dr. Washington returned to her seat at the head of the table. Here's what we're going to do instead. Effective immediately, Chun Industries will implement a comprehensive workplace dignity initiative. Every employee, regardless of position, will be treated with respect and courtesy. Any executive who fails to meet this standard will face immediate consequences. She opened her portfolio and withdrew a thick document. This is my 90-day transformation plan. It includes mandatory sensitivity training for all executives and managers. It includes significant wage increases for our lowest-paid workers. It includes the creation of an employee dignity council with representatives from every level of the company, including maintenance, cleaning, and food service staff. Board Chairman Patterson was nodding approval. Dr. Washington shared this plan with the board last week. We unanimously support it. Marcus felt the room spinning. His proposal was rejected. His behavior was exposed. His career was in ruins. Dr. Washington wasn't finished. Mr. Chun, your behavior this morning demonstrated a fundamental failure of leadership. You treated a fellow human being with contempt based solely on her job title and appearance. That behavior is incompatible with the culture we're building. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. However, I believe in second chances and personal growth. You have two options. Option 1, immediate termination for conduct unbecoming an executive. Option 2, a comprehensive performance improvement plan that includes demotion to senior manager, 40% salary reduction, mandatory completion of 200 hours of sensitivity and leadership training, and 6 months of working directly with our maintenance and cleaning staff to understand their essential role. Marcus felt humiliation burning through him. A demotion, working with cleaning staff, everything he'd built, reduced to rubble by his own arrogance. If you choose option 2, Dr. Washington continued, and successfully complete the improvement plan, you'll have the opportunity to rebuild your career here. But you'll do it with humility, respect, and genuine understanding of what leadership actually means. Marcus looked around the conference room. Every executive, every board member was watching him. Some with sympathy, some with barely concealed satisfaction at seeing his arrogance finally checked. I choose option 2, Marcus said quietly. I want the opportunity to learn and grow. Dr. Washington nodded. Good. Report to Facilities Manager Rodriguez tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. You'll be working alongside our cleaning staff for the next month. You'll learn their names, their stories, their challenges. You'll understand why every position in this company matters. She stood, signaling the meeting's conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, we have significant work ahead of us. This company will become a model for workplace dignity and respect. Not because it's good public relations, but because it's the right way to treat human beings. The board members began filing out, several stopping to shake Dr. Washington's hand and express their support. Marcus remained seated, processing the complete destruction and potential reconstruction of his career. Dr. Washington approached him as the room emptied. Mr. Chun, I don't enjoy humiliating people, but I needed this company to understand that change starts at the top. Your behavior this morning was symptomatic of a larger cultural problem. I understand, Marcus said, his voice barely above a whisper. I was wrong, completely wrong. Yes, you were, but wrong can become right if you're willing to do the work. I've seen executives transform when they genuinely understand the impact of their behavior. The question is whether you're willing to genuinely change or just willing to pretend until you rebuild your position. Marcus looked up at her. I want to genuinely change. This morning I didn't see you as a person. I saw you as an obstacle. That's inexcusable regardless of your position. Dr. Washington's expression softened slightly. That's a start. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. don't be late. And Mr. Chun? Come dressed for actual work, not performance. 3 months later, Marcus Chun arrived at Chun Industries headquarters at 5:45 a.m. He wore work clothes, comfortable shoes, and carried a thermos of coffee. He'd been working with the cleaning staff for 90 days, and his perspective had transformed completely. He'd learned that Maria, the night shift supervisor, was putting 3 kids through college while caring for her elderly mother. He'd learned that James, the maintenance technician, held 2 engineering degrees but couldn't find work during the recession and never left once he discovered he loved the problem-solving aspects of building maintenance. He'd learned that the invisible workers he'd dismissed were complex, intelligent, hard-working people with dreams, challenges, and dignity. The marble lobby sparkled from the night crew's work. Marcus knew exactly how much effort went into maintaining that shine because he'd spent weeks doing it himself. Dr. Washington was already in her office when Marcus arrived for their scheduled review meeting. She transformed the CEO's office from a shrine to ego into a functional workspace decorated with photographs of employees at every level of the company. "Good morning, Mr. Chun. Please sit." Marcus sat, no longer feeling the need to project aggressive confidence. "Good morning, Dr. Washington. I've reviewed your progress reports from Facilities Manager Rodriguez. He says you've exceeded expectations. You've learned quickly, worked hard, and treated every team member with genuine respect. They're remarkable people," Marcus said. "I was blind to that before." Dr. Washington nodded. "Your sensitivity training instructor says you've completed all required hours and demonstrated significant growth in understanding unconscious bias and privilege. It's been eye-opening, painful at times, but necessary. Good. Growth should be uncomfortable. That's how we know it's real." Dr. Washington pulled out a document. "I'm prepared to offer you a position as Director of Employee Relations. It's not the executive role you had before, but it's an opportunity to help implement the cultural changes we're making company-wide." Marcus felt emotion welling up. Not the position he'd lost, but an opportunity to contribute to something meaningful. "I'd be honored. The salary is 35% less than your previous compensation, but it comes with something more valuable, the opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives. I'll take it. Thank you for believing I could change." Dr. Washington smiled. "I didn't believe you could change, Mr. Chun. I believed you wanted to change. That's what mattered. The rest was up to you." 6 months after that morning in the lobby, Chun Industries had transformed. Employee satisfaction scores had increased 67%. Turnover among essential workers had dropped to historic lows. Productivity was up, and the company's reputation as an employer of choice had attracted top talent at every level. Marcus Chun had become one of Dr. Washington's most effective advocates for workplace dignity. He spoke at industry conferences about his transformation. He mentored other executives struggling with unconscious bias. He'd learned that real leadership meant seeing every person's humanity, not just their utility. And every morning, when Marcus arrived at Chun Industries headquarters, he made a point of greeting every cleaning staff member by name, thanking them for their essential work, and treating them with the respect they'd always deserved, because he'd learned the hard way that titles don't determine worth. Respect isn't negotiable, and sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one you almost didn't notice. Dr. Eleanor Washington had taught him that lesson in the most humbling way possible, and Marcus Chun was grateful every day for that education, however painful it had been to receive. The cleaning lady who wasn't really a cleaning lady had changed everything. Not through punishment, but through the opportunity for genuine transformation. And Chun Industries became proof that companies succeed not by eliminating their most vulnerable workers, but by honoring the essential dignity of every person who contributes to their mission.